Oh, hey, folks. I just had an idea today. I thought I'd get on here and talk about it a little bit. I have observed over the course of my life that we jazz guitar players often get kind of consumed with the notion of notes and velocity and whatever it might be, how to navigate the changes and all that kind of stuff. And yet I observe in many of the greatest players that there's an element of bluesiness in their playing, even when they're not playing a blues. So I just played a little bit of The Days of Wine and Roses, which is really not a very bluesy song, especially in its original conception. But it can be because it has the requisite amount of dominant seventh chords and other things. It can be treated in a more bluesy way. And I've heard a beautiful version of Days of Wine and Roses by Oscar Peterson where he plays rather bluesy. I'm sure there are other examples as well. This is not a new idea. But in this age of, guitar players learning off of the internet or out of books, and they're learning 2-5-1 ideas and these kinds of things, all of which are cool and good. It's important to also remember to inject a little bit of that bluesiness from time to time to give things just a little bit of a different flavor. It doesn't mean you're going to play pentatonic blues licks necessarily, but there are certain ways you can make things sound a little bluesier. So on the one chord there, I might say, just that little bit, just that little slur from flat 3 to 3. That little on a minor chord. Right? So what is going on here? There is that sort of blues ornament. Let's see, I'm playing over a G minor chord. Then I go to B flat minor. Okay, the other thing that we can do to impart a kind of bluesier feeling is, not play so many long lines. Maybe play a little bit more something that is vocal or sounds like a sung melody. So, in other words, it's the age-old thing of playing phrases and leaving space. And another thing that I think is really handy is to paraphrase the melody with regard to this. That kind of thing. So you can hear that I know I am still singing the song in my head, and what I'm playing is sort of an elaboration on the melody, and that helps with phrasing as well. So we can deal with this issue of making our lines and our improvisations deal with a little bit more of that bluesy feeling without sort of overtly going, which clearly doesn't work in every situation. People like Cannonball Adderley, Oscar Peterson, Kenny Burrell, lots of players, Charlie Parker, always had a bluesier quality to their playing. Even John Coltrane, particularly in his early era, always had a kind of a cry of the blues going on, even when they were playing standard songs that didn't have an overt blues quality. The other thing, and I did it on this performance and I'm doing it now, is I'm playing with my fingers and I'm kind of snapping the strings a little bit more. I think jazz guitar players can often get into a kind of a flat affect where all of the notes have the same sound and all the notes have the same volume and all the notes have the same kind of approach. And there's so much more on this instrument than just, the sound of picking at the end of the fingerboard. Now, the sound of picking at the end of the fingerboard is a lovely sound, and we all like it. That's why we like to play jazz guitar. But there's just so much more. So I might say, instead of, that sort of sound, I might say, that kind of sound. So I'm getting kind of more of a punchy thing. Now, you can't do that at 90 miles an hour, but you can do it at a nice slow groove. And so I would say if you don't play with your fingers, or if you're not experimenting around even with the pick, like for instance, I might play something way back here. That's a little extreme, but anyway, there's all these different tonal characteristics that ultimately evoke an emotion or a feeling in the part of your listener. So I think it's really worthwhile to explore these things. We can get really hung up on amps and strings and chords and effects and all this other stuff. People always ask me about that stuff, but I get a lot more out of just moving my hand around than I do out of any kind of gear issues. Okay, so I wanted to just encourage you to explore, a bluesier side of the music. As a time-honored thing. Maybe some of you are saying, God, what is he saying this for? I've been doing this for my whole life. Well, that's great. If you have been, wonderful. But if you haven't been, then please do explore it, at least so that you can have some of that flavor in your playing. And it's not as like theoretically correct all the time. It might be a little elusive if you're just trying to organize it by the book, So you have to give yourself up to that feeling of taking some chances and getting out on the edge of the feeling realm rather than only just being intellectually correct all the time. All right, here's a little duet of the Days of Wine and Roses. Played at a nice slow groove, and I'm trying to get into some of that bluesier style playing.